Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel where we discuss all things logistics. Today, we're going to do things slightly different because I want to let you know a step-by-step guide to how you will be dispatching your operators on a day-to-day basis. Now, this is not something that you'll just complete once. This is a task that you'll do over and over again throughout the day, especially if you have multiple operators. So, I don't waste any time. We're going to get right into it. Now, step one, you're going to post all of your owner operators available equipment. As a dispatcher, you're going to post their truck and you're going to post them on the load boards that you already have accounts with. You're going to also need to include any equipment and their availability. Step two, you're going to search for freight. As a freight dispatcher, you will use the load boards to contact freight brokers, freight shippers, and freight forwarders about available loads for your owner operators. Step three, you're going to perform a broker shipper credit check. Now, this is assuming that step one or two got you a load. So now you've obtained a load or you found a load that you want and you've talked to a broker. You got off the phone after giving them your owner operator's motor carrier number, and now you're waiting for them to send you some paperwork. While you're waiting, you need to be completing the broker or shipper's credit check. Now, it's your responsibility to check the credit of the freight broker or shipper prior to accepting the freight. You will do this by using whatever credit services are available to your owner operator. Most of the time, you will use their factoring company if they have one. But there are other options such as www.brokercreditcheck.com, the smcsa.gov website, or another private credit service. Regardless of which source that you choose to use, be sure to complete that credit check before accepting the load. Accepting that load means that rate con is signed. Now, step four, you're going to complete all the necessary paperwork and you're going to do that ASAP because time is now ticking. That means you've accepted a load from a broker, you've done the credit check, it checked out, and now they sent you some paperwork and you're about to complete it and send it back over to them. That would be your broker packet. Now, if your owner operator has not completed the setup paperwork with a specific shipper or broker already, you'll need to fill out their carrier or broker agreement along with any additional paperwork required by that broker. You would then return all those documents to the freight broker along with your owner operator's carrier setup packet. For step five, you're going to work on the certificate of insurance, also known as the COI. Now, what you're going to do is contact the owner operator's insurance company and have the freight broker or shipper included as the certificate holder. Now, it really depends on what the conversation was or who you dealt with. Did you deal directly with a shipper or did you deal with a broker? So whomever the person is, you're going to include them as a certificate holder on the operator's insurance policy. Most shippers or freight brokers will require this to be completed before assigning the load to the carrier. Step six will be the rate confirmation. Now, once all the paperwork has been sent to the freight broker or shipper, you will receive a rate confirmation. You will then carefully, and as you can see, that is in a bold font. So carefully review the details of the rate confirmation for the correct rate, the correct loading orders, and everything else that you agreed upon. Now, let's say there's something on that rate confirmation that's not supposed to be there. It doesn't mean that your broker is necessarily trying to be sneaky. They deal with so many people per day that it's your job to, proof everything, look over it, and make sure everything checks out. If there is something that you all did not talk about or that you don't agree on or something's wrong, still sign it, but cross it out and say, I do not agree to these terms. Whatever portion of it that wasn't included in the conversation. And make sure you keep a copy for your records. So you'll then sign that and return it to the shipper immediately because, as I said, the time is ticking. If you don't get this paperwork back to them, they can turn around and give this load to someone else because technically you're not in a contract yet because you haven't signed the rate confirmation. So once this is done, your operator is legally now in a binding contract because the rate confirmation has been signed. Step seven, you are going to dispatch your operator. You will send all of that information that you received from the broker about the load to the owner operator so that they'll know the pickups, the delivery points, and also the times. Now, I suggest that you always call the operator with the load details in addition to sending them a copy of the rate confirmation to their email. Do all of this for clarity. Call them on the phone, say, hey, I booked this load, and give them the details, and then say, I'm about to send you the details as well. That way, it's clear, there's no confusion, they know what needs to be done, and you've communicated what needs to be done as well. Step 8 would be load permits. Now, this just depends on the situation. If you go out and you get oversized loads, then yes, you will be responsible as the dispatcher to get permits for your owner operator. Now, permits may have to be obtained, but again, that is when it's like you're over weight limits, over the dimensions, or if your operator is not registered within a certain state, you may be responsible for getting load permits. But if you stay away from those oversized loads and situations like that, this is something that you won't have to do. Step 9, you are having the load delivered. Once that operator has delivered the load, you should receive something called a POD. The POD is the proof of delivery. Now, that operator may scan it to you, email it to you, fax it, or even text you from their cell phone. Either way, once that load is delivered, you should be receiving a POD. From there, you're going to prepare an invoice to send to the freight broker or shipper so that you can receive payment. Step 10 is if that owner operator has a factoring company. So if the owner operator utilizes a factoring company, you would then send the invoice to his factoring representative. The freight factoring company will then process the invoice and bill the shipper or the freight broker by sending them something called an NOA. The NOA means notice of assignment. Once the freight factoring company receives the operator's invoice, they will then advance them their money to the operator according to whatever contract terms they have. So keep in mind, you're going to need, as the freight dispatcher, keep copies of all documentation for each carrier that you represent. Keep it on file for at least 7 years because it's better to be safe than sorry when it comes to these DOT audits. You don't want to set your owner operators up for failure. Of course, they should be keeping their paperwork on their own, but you are their back office. So make sure you keep this stuff on file. And that's all that I have for you today. I'll see you next time.